Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Sarasota. My name is Kathleen Frankert, and I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner here at the center. Whether you're a first-time visitor or a regular viewer, we're so pleased that all of you have chosen to spend some time with us today. And now, I greet you with Namaste. Namaste is the Sanskrit greeting that means the divinity in me recognizes and greets the divinity in you. Each Sunday, we recite our declaration, which states our commitment as a spiritual center. The words from our website can be seen on your screen now. Wherever you are, I invite you to join your voice with mine as we read the declaration aloud. We are a spiritual center that honors all paths to God. Ours is a positive message, inspiring our possibilities, and offers spiritual tools for transforming our lives and helping to make the world a better place. Here, we can find peace of mind, belonging to a spiritual home, and a personal relationship with the God of our understanding. We are here to discover what we already know. And now, as we move into our time of prayer and meditation, I invite you to take a deep and relaxing breath. Listen and join in, if you like, to the chant, God is holding me. Know that truly, no matter the circumstance or place you are, God is right there holding you.
I'm held in love, I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me.
I know there is a loving power and presence operating throughout all creation. This I call God. God is the infinite source of grace, wholeness, and love that emanates and activates its expression infinitely. I know this for me, and I know this for everyone hearing these words spoken here. So knowing this oneness of God through time and space, I know that I and each one are held in the tender, loving embrace of the One. In this embrace, there is only support, sustenance, and serenity. Held in God's embrace, I am soothed, lifted, nurtured, and sustained. I know there is no circumstance, problem, issue, or concern that is too big for God. Breathing in, I feel and know God's presence, and I experience its infinite peace, love, and wisdom. I gratefully allow doubts, worries, or concerns to be released, and in their place, I joyously accept and expect a greater good now flowing to me and through me. God is holding me. I am blessed. That is the truth today, tomorrow, and always. And so it is. Today, our spiritual director, Reverend Jaron Nelson, is taking some time off, and so I'm pleased to welcome our guest speaker, Jaron Nelson, one of our licensed spiritual practitioners. Jaryn has been studying since 2013 and a member of our center for more than 5 years. She was licensed as a practitioner last summer. She says her mission is to, quote, intentionally and consistently steep myself in spiritual practices that remind me of who and whose I truly am, to live from that truth and to serve others by sharing spiritual guidance and truth, thereby easing suffering. We've also been blessed to have Jaryn bring her beautiful singing voice to our services in the past. Today, she'll be offering a wise and inspiring message in a talk entitled, What Gives? When Spiritual Practice Seems to Work for Everyone But Me. But first, joining Bob Teasdale, we're pleased to welcome back Fawny Frost as our guest soloist. We're always blessed when these two talents join forces. Today, Fawny is singing From Within by Ricky Byers-Beckwith. Welcome, Bob and Fawny.
From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity. From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity. Turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity. Turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Face of God, face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Ever present, all around me, it's within, it's within. Ever present, all around me, it's within, it's within. Ever present, all around me, it's within, it's within. Ever present, all around me, it's within, it's within. From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity.
Thank you, Fani. And thanks to all of you who are watching now and to all who will watch this in the future. Thanks for being here. Because of COVID-19, there's been so much going on in our world that would have us fixated on outer appearances, which causes us to feel unsettled. But the song you just heard, From Within, lets us know where it's really at. I love its words, ever present, all around me. It's within me, it's within. I find those words so comforting, and I hope it's the same for you. Those lyrics are a simple reminder that it is in the going within that we see the face of God and, of course, our own divinity as well. So thank you for that beautiful and supportive reminder, Fani and Bob. If you've been watching our services over the last 2 weeks, you've heard our spiritual leader, Reverend Karen Wolfson, offer some great spiritual tools for navigating challenging times. If you didn't happen to hear those talks, they can be viewed on the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota Facebook page, or also on our YouTube channel by the same name, or on our website at www.cslsarasota.com. The talks are entitled Spiritual Tools for Tough Times, Part 1 and 2. As spiritual students, we are very sincere in seeking solace from our spiritual practices and principles when our life is full of uncertainty, worry, fear, and other types of disharmony and crisis. We may focus more intently on our spiritual practices and principles to help us tap into our inner strength, peace, guidance, or whatever else we desire to experience. I think most of us would agree that not only is this a normal response, it is an appropriate and life-affirming one as well. But there can be times where we unknowingly use spirituality in a way it was never meant to be used. In so doing, we corrupt the function of our spiritual practices and principles, which is to reveal and expand our awareness of unity with the divine and our innate wholeness. Accidental misuse of spiritual tools and principles can take place when we rely on spirituality like a drug, using it to escape and numb our feelings, or to avoid looking at difficult situations and responsibilities in our life. We may inadvertently don the mask of spirituality so no one, including ourselves, can see what's lurking beneath the surface. Now, I want to reiterate here that all of this is happening at an unconscious level. We're not trying to be deceitful to others or ourselves. However, when the world at large or our personal lives seem to be falling apart, the state of our mind may begin to mirror the mayhem that we're perceiving in the outer world. When this happens, it can feel extremely overwhelming to experience the disturbances of both the outer and the inner worlds. At this critical juncture, some may turn to alcohol, drugs, sex, overeating, shopping, binge watching Netflix, or any other number of measures to temporarily silence or numb the mental conflict. However, if we happen to be spiritually inclined, we may be tempted to use our spiritual practices and principles to help us check out of life. We may engage in what is called spiritual bypass. This term, spiritual bypass, was coined by the late prominent psychotherapist John Wellwood. It can present in numerous ways, but in a nutshell, it is a defense mechanism where our spiritual practices and ideas are used to avoid dealing with our unresolved emotional issues and difficult life tasks. Our spirituality can be used to minimize or mask our feelings, basic needs, and the deep desires of our heart. This is done by using our spiritual practices and principles to avoid, repress, escape, reject, and basically just numb out, instead of feeling and being present with what is. At other times, if we can't bury our rejected parts deep enough to keep them out of our conscious awareness, we may resort to finger pointing and rejecting in others what we have rejected in ourselves, thus projecting and offloading our stuff onto others. The reward for engaging in spiritual bypass is a false sense of security and happiness, which can feel like true relief. So its allure is powerful. Also, it feels a whole lot easier than looking at our stuff. And for a time, it appears to work. The following 5 examples don't always indicate spiritual bypass, but they do give some possible examples of what spiritual bypass might look like. For example, being forcefully optimistic as a way to avoid having to look at sad or distressing realities. Not focusing on the here and now, living in a sort of spiritual la-la land a lot of the time, neglecting our responsibilities at work, home, and community. Attempting to look enlightened or superior in an attempt to cover our perceived inadequacies. Always being kind and compassionate and lacking healthy boundaries under the guise of being spiritual. Shrinking from personal responsibility by heavily leaning on gurus, shamans, psychics, and horoscopes, instead of consulting our own internal guidance system. And similarly, putting our faith in a higher power to solve all our problems, while refusing to do our part to resolve the situation. I don't know about you, but I have certainly participated in some of these. It can be so hidden from our awareness that we don't even realize it's going on. John Monborquette states that without deep and honest self-acceptance, the spiritual life rests on a dangerous psychological foundation and is nothing more than an escape into a world of illusion. Humble self-knowledge is the most basic condition for any true spirituality. Then why are we seemingly so afraid to go within and acknowledge what we're really feeling? Well, we may already be feeling so overwhelmed and emotionally weak, so the idea of looking at our stuff seems like really hard work that we are just not up for doing. We may think that looking at our negative, ugly emotions will confirm our self-proclaimed fact that we are indeed fundamentally bad and unworthy of our good. Acknowledging our feelings may call for making changes in ourselves or in our life that we are not yet ready to make. We may feel afraid that if we look at our feelings that we label negative and bad, we'll emotionally spiral out of control and go so far down the rabbit hole that we'll never find our way back to the light of joy and peace. We may be fearful to acknowledge and energize our stuff because we deem it bad and unspiritual, and we don't want to energize it with our attention and thereby attract more of the same into our lives. So I can understand that it seems counterintuitive that it would be helpful for us to be present with our uncomfortable emotions such as rage, shame, hatred, loneliness, anxiety, and so on. And I do want to be very clear that I'm not condoning acting out our negative emotional states. But to give you a visual of the spiritual bypass process, let's imagine that those emotions that we've avoided, repressed, rejected, or projected are different pieces of trash. We keep putting emotions that we consider bad, painful, unmanageable, unspiritual into the trash can, piling them on, one on top of the other. For the most part, we try to ignore the trash can and its contents. But every now and again, the trash can gets filled up. We feel those uncomfortable emotions rising in our awareness, getting more and more intense. And it is then that we realize we must take some sort of action. But often, instead of dealing with these pieces of trash by emptying them from the trash can, we press and cram the bits of trash down, compacting them even more, making room for, yep, you guessed it, more trash, more trash. We do this again and again, month after month, perhaps year after year, or even a lifetime. Eventually, though, no matter how much we've pressed down those bits of trash and sprayed Lysol on top to make the smell less noticeable, the trash can is going to be overflowing and smelling terrible. I think you're probably beginning to see that the whole process of spiritual bypass, the avoiding, the repressing, the rejecting, eventually leads to great internal suffering. At the onset, participating in spiritual bypass seems to come to our rescue, but we'll want to remember that any sense of relief, security, and happiness experienced by means of spiritual bypass is temporary and comes with the costly price of sabotaging our spiritual growth and transformation. That's a big price to pay. Truth is, the function of our spiritual practices and principles is not meant to grant us immunity from the storms and messiness of life. Rather, their function is to support and sustain us in the midst of the storm and help us navigate with more ease, grace, and peace. Used rightly, they revolutionize how we perceive ourselves, life situations, and the world at large. Proper use of spiritual practices and principles opens us to the divine perspective, which reveals and expands in us an awareness that we are already as whole can be. From this place, we can be present to all our emotions, knowing that whatever we're experiencing, our emotions in no way define what and who we are. Furthermore, let's be aware that there are no bad or inappropriate emotions. All our emotions, comfortable or not, are valuable and part of the whole of who we are. Instead of resisting our uncomfortable emotions, we can look at them as the divine alarm that's going off, lovingly letting us know that something is coming up to be acknowledged and handed over to the Spirit, so that more of our healed state can be revealed within us. With this perspective, we may even be able to cultivate gratitude for those emotions we'd rather not experience. It was Carl Jung who reminded us that what we resist persists. Therefore, if we're resisting and denying that the waters of our life are turbulent and that a storm is even happening, we also deny and reject the support, growth, and expansion that the storm brings. Engaging in resistance of anything requires us to expend our precious energy. This not only drains us, but energizes and attracts the very thing we're wanting to avoid. Additionally, by resisting and denying our uncomfortable feelings and life situations, we are really resisting and denying our innate wholeness by refusing to look at and honor the whole of ourselves. Instead of embracing our wholeness through resistance, we unknowingly accept a perpetual state of feeling fragmented and separate from our good and separate from the divine. And this fragmented state is diametrically in opposition to the truth of who we really are. So then, it's no surprise that in frustration and despair, we may throw up our hands in the air asking, what gives? Why does spiritual practice seem to work for everyone but me? Can anyone else besides me relate to this? The thing is, sound spiritual practices and principles do work when we work them appropriately. But it's up to us to, bit by bit, rid the trash can of all fragmented bits and pieces that are blocking our highest good and the awareness of our wholeness. And this we certainly can do and are divinely supported in doing so. Let us remember that there is that within each one of us that is invulnerable. So we need not be afraid to honestly sit with and look at what is. Ernest Holmes, the architect of the science of mind philosophy, tells us that we do not suggest to a person that he is all right when he is not all right. We try to awaken man to an inherent divinity and perfection which is in every living soul. Our whole process is an awakening. The spiritual nature never sleeps, and something in you and me senses this imprisoned splendor as something that has never been hurt, confused, sick, or poor. Our knowledge of this divine reality automatically sets the objective man free. I believe we would all agree that what we really want from our spiritual practices and principles is to awaken and to be set free from our imprisoned splendor. In just a bit, Bonnie, accompanied by Bob, is going to sing another song for us called Hand It Over by Kebmo. It's a jazzy little number with a healing recommendation that I think you're really going to enjoy. But before that happens, and right in line with the message of Bonnie's upcoming song, I have a hand it over process that I'd like to share with you. You can see the first slide on your screen now. So I encourage you to take your phone or iPad and take a photo or screenshot of the next two slides that will present the step-by-step hand-it-over process. If you'd like me to send you the PDF, feel free to contact me via the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota website, where you would first press the staff button, then the practitioner button, then scroll to the bottom of that page where you'll find contact information for me. And as a reminder, my name is Jaron Nelson. I also encourage you to leave me your comments on Facebook or YouTube or send an email and let me know if you found this process helpful or not. I'd really like to hear from you. I know from personal experience that this step-by-step process is a safe and thorough way to clear away the stuff which drains our energy and obstructs our pristine awareness of our divinity and wholeness. The more trash we get rid of, the more we can consciously connect with, become intimate with, and embody our divinity and wholeness. The Hand It Over process lovingly navigates us through the storm and into calmer and clearer waters. The process is illuminating, liberating, healing, and easily done because you're not doing it alone. You're partnering up with Spirit. In closing, I want to honor that because of recent events, many of you are going through a storm right now. I understand that life can feel overwhelming and that your lifeboat is being knocked about and it may feel like you're going to capsize. But instead of closing our eyes and going into the fetal position, denying what's happening, denying our feelings about what's happening, I invite you to know deep within you that you can safely, in faith and trust, acknowledge the storm. And in so doing, we open ourselves up to the infinite support, growth, and expansion that the storm brings. Used in this way, our spiritual practices and principles are working for us instead of against us. I hope you can find some encouragement and guidance in the words that I've shared with you today. You are supported on your journey, and God is holding you. This I know. Thank you so much for listening. Many blessings to you. And now, here's Fawny with Hand It Over.
If your problems won't go away and you're worried night and day, hand it over to the Spirit every day. If you're sick, feeling low, got no money, got nowhere to go, hand it over to the Spirit every day. Hand it on, hand it on. Give it up, give it over. Hand it over to the Spirit every day. Ain't no mountain you can't climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It will heal your body, feed your soul. If the road is dark, you can't find your way, let the Spirit lead the way. Hand it over to the Spirit every day. Hand it over, hand it over. Give it up, give it over, hand it over to the Spirit every day. Ain't no mountain you can't climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It will heal your body, feed your soul. If the road is dark, you can't find your way, let the Spirit lead the way. Hand it over to the Spirit every day. Hand it over, hand it over. Give it up, give it over. Hand it over to the Spirit every day.
Thank you, Jerry, Fawny, and Bob. Jaron, that was a great message. Fawny and Bob, we so enjoyed your music. And now it's time for our offering. We are so grateful for your generous financial support of this ministry so that we can continue to support you in prayer, inspiration, encouragement, and opportunities for virtual community and connection. There are 3 easy ways to share your offering. On your screen, you'll see our website where you can select the donate button, which allows you to contribute via PayPal or by credit card. Or you may mail a check to our address shown here on the website, or set up automatic contributions through your online banking. And now I invite you to take your virtual gift in your hand and place it over your heart, blessing it as you share it. And know with me, my gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper. And the divine flow returns it to me, multiplied abundantly. And all together, if you would repeat after me, I give thanks that I may share of my good, my love, and my support. And while we are showing you our website, which is www.cslsarasota.com, I'd like to draw your attention to the green prayer request button. We invite you to use this to send your request for prayer support. We have 3 licensed spiritual practitioners, Jim Grove, Jaron Nelson, and me, who are available to know and affirm spiritual truth with and for you in whatever challenge you may be experiencing. Here on our website, you can also sign up for our email newsletter, or check out our Facebook page for posts about upcoming events. I have just a couple of announcements this week. I'm pleased to share that on May 19th, we're kicking off a new 4-week class that will meet on Tuesday evenings. It's called This Thing Called You, based on a book by the same name by Ernest Holmes. I will be leading this journey of self-discovery via Zoom conference technology. So no matter where you are, you can join us. This will be a time of discussion, reflection, and we'll have some fun too. Details about the class are on the screen and on our website. Or you may email me with questions or to register. The deadline for registration is May 14th. And please note that you'll need to order the book for delivery by May 19th. We have 2 events happening this week. Our spiritual living circles continue via Zoom conferencing each Wednesday evening at 7. All are invited to join in a 1-hour discussion and faith lift hosted by licensed spiritual practitioner Jim Grove. If you'd like to participate, email Jim and he will send you the conference invitation along with this week's discussion guide. Also, Power Up Miracle Moments happen every Thursday from 4 to 4:30. All are invited to join together via conference call to request and receive affirmative prayer support. The call is co-led by licensed spiritual practitioners Jaron Nelson and me. Our contact information is on the screen. You may email us for the telephone number and passcode or with any questions you may have. Now, as we conclude this sacred time together, let us move forward into our day and the week ahead, affirming that we do so in health, in safety, and in perfect peace. And now I invite you to listen or join Bob in singing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Thank you for being with us.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. soul.